Today, we'll kick off the session with Covalent, building the future of finance with one unified API. We have Ganesh here and Brendan who will run the show. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat, and Ganesh and Brendan will get to them either at the end or in the sponsor channel in Discord in the very end if they don't have the time to address everything. Without further ado, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Catherine. Good morning, everyone. For people on this part of the world, super happy to be here. Hackathons are actually very near and dear to our hearts because Covalent itself started at a hackathon many years ago. I found myself on a weekend twiddling my thumbs what to do, so let's go attend a hackathon, and then I built the initial version of Covalent, and here we are many years later. So love participating in hackathons. We actually have, I think, 3 or 4 hackathons going on right now, this very moment. So we're very busy and love hackathons with a passion. So let me introduce myself. Let me introduce Covalent, and then I'll let Brandon get to the meat of today's session. So hi guys, I'm Ganesh Swami. I am the CEO and one of the co-founders of Covalent. Covalent provides a unified API to pull out balances and positions and historical transaction granular activity on 12 different blockchains. So the magic of Covalent is from the developer side. You integrate with the API once, and all you have to change is one character, which is the chain ID. And suddenly your schema, your requests, and your responses work on Binance Smart Chain and Polygon and Phantom and Avalanche Seed Chain, and we just keep adding chains as time goes on. So that's really what the magic is. We started out with very humble roots. Started out building a product that understands on-chain data, so more of a retail focused product, because it was difficult to communicate what an API can get you. This was, I'm talking about the dark days of 2018, 2019, when there was no DeFi, there was no NFT, it wasn't clear what was going on. But we had this intuition, we had this vision that one day this kind of API is going to be crucial for the space moving forward. And that futuristic vision has played out actually quite exactly as we planned out. So yeah, built the company, built the project out, started around 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. 2020 is when we hit product market fit, became profitable as a company, and then from then on, it's just been blitz scaling. So today we have a team of about 30 people building the project. We have a community of about 20,000 people. We have lots of initiatives. We have over 5,000 devs in our developer ecosystem. So there's a lot going on with Covalent. We have over 200 projects that are relying on Covalent for their pretty key critical needs, all the big names that if you use Zerion, for example, all of their data is Covalent. If you use CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, CryptoWatch, it doesn't matter. Like we seem to have become the default choice for a lot of these projects. And what's exciting for devs is that you guys have exactly the same kind of API that those guys are consuming, exactly the same product. So there's no difference. Literally, you just have to go to the website, sign up for an API key, and then boom, you have access to all of this information. So one of the other things that I think was very interesting about Covalent is the diverse use cases that the Covalent API supports. So one analogy we would like to use is we give you a can of tomato sauce and some pasta, and whether you make lasagna or some other Italian dish, or I don't know, some of the Asian dish, it's up to you. It's up to the developer. You're fully in control. This is why we have portfolio trackers, we have taxation tools, we have DEX watchers, we have market data, we have machine learning models, we have wallet use cases, tons and tons and tons of use cases. Exactly as you said, can of tomato sauce and some pasta. Go crazy, be your own chef. And so yeah, that's high level what I'd love to talk about Covalent. What I would love to see from this hackathon is DeFi specific stuff. So we are only focused on the on-chain stuff. So we don't really do any like protocol related stuff. It's purely that if you want to pull out on-chain data across any of these blockchains, you can use the API. And we have like 2 classes of API specific for that. So I'd love to see more advanced analytics, more advanced understanding, more transparency, things that even Etherscan cannot do. You can do with Covalent. So that's really, I think, where this is really an opportunity to push the envelope on what is possible in this space, which is really what hackathons are about, right? Besides having fun. So we're here to support. We're on Discord, where we have our own Telegram channels and so on. So, feel free to reach out. I think there's a dedicated Discord channel for this hackathon. So our team is always available, and we'll have room for questions at the end. But I'll let Brandon take on the rest of the session today.
Awesome. Thanks for that intro. So I'm just going to share my screen here and get started with a bit of a showcase and an intro to the docs site and everything of this sort. So let's start here. This is kind of where you should always start when you're getting started with Covalent. Get started by signing up for an API reference or an API key, sorry, and read through the docs. So on this page, which I will send a link to in the chat, here we go. You can, this is basically the landing page. So you can see the supported networks, you can see the campaigns, and we're just going to take a second to go through all of those and understand what they are. So let's start with the supported networks. So currently we support mainnets for Ethereum, Avalanche, Seed Chain, Binance Smart Chain, Matic, Phantom, RSK, and Arbitrum, which hasn't been added here just yet. We have test nets for all of those as well. And there's upcoming networks that you can browse down below. So this is where you'll find the chain ID. You can click into each of these to find more information about them. Block time for Ethereum, 15 seconds. For Matic, it's about 1 second with 12-second refresh latency. So all this type of stuff you can find in the supported networks section. If we go to the tutorials section under the Alchemist Cookbook here, you can start to understand how to build with the API. So two of the key tutorials are the primer tutorials. So we'll talk a bit more about primer later, and maybe Ganesh will be able to add in on that. But just for reference, there's a tutorial section. There are how-to guides. So these are different exercises that we have built out to kind of get you going. So this Class A endpoints summary is a really good recipe to start with. It gives an intro to the endpoints. It gives an intro to some tutorial videos. So it's a great place to start. And there's more. So we've got case studies as well. These are just 2, there's more coming. So this is a tether analysis. You can match up basically what tether says with the on-chain stats. And so that's what we do in this case study here. And I'm going kind of quick because I have a few more things and a few more detailed examples that I want to get into. And so I guess the last 2 things that I want to show you on this site are the developer tools. So this is going to be really helpful if you're looking for addresses, if you're looking for primer stuff. So if we just try this default out here. So you basically put in your address, you select the chain, and it will tell you the events that are associated with that address, with that contract, and what the topic hash of those events are. So this is super useful while you're building out research or building out tools and the sort. So, and then lastly, we'll show off some of the projects. We'll do that closer to the end. This is our project showcase page. So community members that have built projects through previous hackathons, through previous ETHGlobal events. You can check those out and message any of those the creators. They're happy to answer questions if you find some related avenues. So that is an overview of the docs site. I'll talk a little bit more. I guess I didn't give myself an intro really. I run a lot of the research at Covalent. So if we go to AlphaAlarm, this is the kind of the research, external facing research branch that we have started. It is now run entirely by the alchemists, which we will talk about in a second. But feel free to scroll through here and see some of the research that's been done. The whole purpose is to provide daily visuals and daily insights that are not just speculative. They're fact-based and based on research used or gathered through the API. So we've provided over 150 of these insights so far over the last 3 months, and we're not going to stop anytime soon. So feel free to check those out, request insights or request research, or you can even join in, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. But I think the biggest takeaway from this page here is the ideas. So these are things that can be done with Covalent, or stats that can be found, that can be integrated into your apps and your DeFi projects. So to cover a few more of these use cases, let's actually backtrack and go into the API docs themselves. So we'll do a quick run through. Again, there's the introduction, there's this whole overview section. I'm just going to let you read through that on your own. I really want to talk about the endpoints that we offer. So some of the coolest ones are like the token balances. So if we just enter in an address here and a chain ID, then we will get balances, and we can fetch NFT balances as well. So let's just do demo.eth, and there's all this primer queries that you can make as well, but we'll just keep it simple for now. Look at demo.eth on the main chain, and while that loads, I will talk about the other endpoints that we offer. So historical portfolio balances. Oh, I didn't actually put in my API key. That's why that didn't work. I'll grab that in a second. So we also have historical portfolio balances. So this will give you the last 30 days. And you can make all of these API calls right from the browser here. So you can prototype any of your calls and see what you have going on here. So do that now, and let's give that a try now. There we go. No API key given. There we go. So now we have a response, and this is kind of the preview here. So we can copy this URL and view it somewhere else. We can just use this URL to make the calls from Excel, from Google Sheets, whatever you please, or from your project, obviously. So let's continue this through here. We could also get transactions. We can get the most powerful ones are certainly the log events endpoints. So we can get log events by contract address. So let's actually do a quick demo here. Let's look at the Aave lending pool. V1 will work. So we'll grab that. We'll go back here, chain ID 1, address, put in the one we just grabbed. Ending block, let's do latest. So if we do that, it'll just grab the last million blocks. We don't need to specify a starting block if we just say latest right there. And let's actually look at this in a CSV format so that we can make everything easier. Give that a try. Oh, service temporarily unavailable. Fair enough. We'll come back to that later on. But basically what that would return is a similar page to this with all of the events from the address, fully decoded, number one, and also from the start of that block range that we gave. So it would give every event for the last 1,000,000 blocks. And if we wanted to query every event that this contract has ever emitted, we would just need to go to this creator transaction hash, figure out when this contract was created, and start our analysis from there. And then we can get every event that has ever been emitted by this contract. So that's just a quick overview of the API docs. And what I really want to do is go into some more of the community built projects. So let me just close some of these down. So this is the first one here. This is was built for one of our D&D hackathons with 1inch, and this is actually a Qi gas token tracker. So you can see how much was minted, how much has been burned. You can interact with it on a monthly basis. And you can also see the largest Qi gas token addresses. Now this is entirely powered by Covalent. All of the granularity and everything down to the block level. So if we continue on that thread, this is another submission from a previous hackathon here, while it loads. So this one goes even into more depth and finds the swap, the largest swap, the swap volume, how many unique users a protocol has. So this protocol specific here is 1inch, but we can find how many unique users it has ever had, or we can do a sliding window on that. All of that can be powered by the API. So I'm going to let that load for a second. It's a lot of data to go through. And to switch the tone a little bit here, this is a cool NFT bot that was built by the community as well. So it posts hourly, I believe. Yeah, close to hourly, different NFTs, and just showcases them. So it's completely built by or powered by Covalent. And then they built a bot out of it. So I just think that one's a fun one to look at. Let me just check the time. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes. I want to open it up for any questions while this one, oh, it's loaded. So we'll do questions in a second here. So just to show the granularity, that's what I want to show here. And you can build this for any protocol. It doesn't have to be for 1inch. It can be for your wallet even. It can show all of these stats for your specific wallet. It can calculate the different taxes that you owe based on different transactions, based on where you live, whatever you need to do. All that data is available. So for 1inch specifically, the largest swap on Ethereum, both Ethereum and BSC is about 36 million, a little bit over 36 million. So you can see the total trade volume. There have been about 95,000 unique users on Ethereum and BSC across 900,000 swaps. And then that's just the high level. So we can start to dig in to daily statistics, gas spent statistics, the median values. This page shows volume. And as Ganesh mentioned before, it's as simple as changing the chain ID. So to get it on Ethereum versus BSC, we need to match up the addresses and change the chain ID. And it's as simple as that. So I guess this page is going to take a little bit to load. So let's do some questions. Where can we find those submission repositories? Yes, I can send some links here. I'll do that in just a second. But they are on that initial Covalent docs site that I sent. They are in this project showcase section, most of them. And if they're not yet, they will be eventually. So, but here, just quickly, here's a link. Here are the links to the ones that I just showed. Any other questions?
I just want to take a minute to explain one of the unique architectural pieces about Covalent, how it works, and what our philosophy is. So what makes Covalent unique is that we make an exact replica of the underlying supporting blockchain into a database. This means that we index every balance, every transaction, every position, every log event, in fact, even every storage slot that you have on the blockchain. And from there on, this is where the developer has the control and the flexibility to ask any question that they want. You want to do like token balances for an address, for example. This means looking through all the 250,000 ERC20 contracts and then checking if your wallet addresses is in the balances map. That's an example of a query that Covalent is able to answer in a few hundred milliseconds because we're able to scan the entire blockchain. So that is what makes Covalent unique. So you don't have to write any special code. You don't have to write transformations. You don't have to wait for your data to index. All of your data is automatically indexed with a 2-block latency. So we're about 15 seconds behind. So 30 seconds behind on Ethereum and about 6 seconds behind on Polygon, for example. It's 2 blocks behind, but everything is available to you. You just literally have to just consume the data and then go on and do your do whatever your task is, rather than sitting down and trying to write indexing code and waiting for the index to refresh and going through that process. So that's really how we're different. In fact, we've pushed it so hard that we want you to use the product from the browser. So the browser is an extension to the product. There's a question: what tech do you use for this blockchains DB? This is a very, very custom Postgres. So it looks like a Postgres database on the front end, but we've completely rewritten the storage engine on the back end, and we've rewritten the RPC layer so that it directly, it's like this, I'm sure there's a Greek mythical character, which looks like a database on the front end, but is actually a blockchain on the back end, right? It's like a double-headed demon. So that's what this architecture is. So it reduces the sync latency. So we're probably the only guys to sync Binance Smart Chain, for example, because it's so fast, or Arbitrum. Any of these fast blockchains, it's very difficult to sync it using the RPC layer, but we're able to bypass all of those steps. And then we're also able to keep the database in sync because it's this hybrid kind of architecture. Are there any fees? The product is completely free. So at least for the next year, it's completely free. What's exciting about Covalent is that we have a shadow decentralized network also running. And what is going to happen, I would say, later this year is it'll be network pricing. So anyone can go in and run a node. And if you host your own node, you don't have to pay any fees. But if you rely on another professional validator to answer your queries, then you pay fees. But I guarantee you that it's going to be cheaper than any SaaS product out there, because the validators who've come on board are professional validators, and they run bare metal hardware. So it's going to be dirt cheap, and there's going to be a downward pricing pressure. But until, I would say, next summer, the product is completely free.
So I just want to jump in and close it off here with how to get involved. So we have a bunch of different campaigns going on. Obviously, HackMoney is one of them, and you should reach out in the dedicated Discord channel on the HackMoney server. We'll be active on there, but we also have the Covalent Discord that you can reach out in, or if you want to just look in there for frequently asked questions and support. We also have the Alchemist program. So go to the homepage and look up the Alchemist program if you want to become an alchemist. We're building really cool things. We have from the data team I can speak from, they run AlphaAlarm, they run newsletters. We're building a machine learning team within the Alchemist data side. So there's lots to get involved with there. And you can check out the events page that I just posted here. And we'll talk about, there's upcoming podcasts with Ganesh if you want to learn more, upcoming tutorial sessions, and just generally reach out if you have any questions. And we're happy to support all the way throughout this campaign. As Ganesh said, we love supporting hackathons. So whatever you're building, we want to help build that. So just feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, Brendan and Ganesh. That was super interesting. You do have a few more questions in the YouTube chat. Some were related to, I can post them here. So how many TB is your indexed DB, and where is it hosted?
Great question. So the database is about 5.5 to 6 terabytes, and it's a few billion rows across all of the blockchains that we index. Where is it hosted? It's currently hosted on Google Cloud, but with a decentralized network, basically what's going to happen is that it's going to be distributed across the globe. So every validator will be running this database. So when you make a request from Asia, for example, you hit a data center in Mumbai. If you call from Singapore, it'll be Singapore. From Africa, from Europe, from North America, from South America. But that's the future of Covalent.
Awesome. One other question was the main difference between Covalent and the graph?
Great question. So we hear this a lot, and I've spoken a lot about this, but the biggest difference is the philosophy. So like I said, Covalent is a no-code solution, which means we extract all the data, index all the data, and then the developer does the transformation at query time. That's what Primer and all of these features do. In the case of the graph, what happens is you have the blockchain data, and then you need to sit down and write a subgraph, which could take a couple of days. If you're experienced, you need to really understand the data, and then you need to wait for that to get indexed, and then you query that transformed data. So if there's a new question that you want answered, you have to go back and modify the subgraph and redeploy it and wait for it to index. So in the case of the Uniswap subgraph, for example, it takes about 7 days to resync. So our philosophy is inverted. We actually don't believe in that approach. Our approach is unique and it's different. So that is the core difference between the graph and Covalent.
Thank you. I think that covers pretty much everything. Anyone, if you have more questions, please join the sponsor Covalent channel in our main Discord event, or you can directly go to the Covalent Discord. I'm sure they'll be super supportive during this hackathon particularly, and we'll be happy to see you there on Discord. Thank you so much, Ganesh. Thank you, Brendan, and everyone.